What's up guys, Brad here from Piney Grove, and it's a steamy, sticky summer day here out on the farm. So hot in fact that Miss Piney Grove said we should just take the day off and not do anything out on the farm. But there's so much to be done out here that we really can't take a break. We noticed that the grass we cut last week already needs cutting again, and that doesn't include the grass that we didn't get to last week, so we gotta stay on top of it. But enough talking, let's go up to the front of the property and get a little mowing done. Here's a view you don't often get on our channel of our farm, but as you drive along the main road, you've got this area right here where you can actually see into our ponds and our pasture. I've set up on the east end of our property because a brush hog throws to the right. So what I want to do is go up tight against the fence and throw to the right, and then I'll come back down on the roadside and then throw to the right, which will be this way. And that way I won't throw grass into the road or cans or any kind of trash that might be here. I don't want that slung into the road or to hit a car. Last thing I want to do is cause an accident. Speaking of cans and trash, I don't know why people throw things out their window. Here we have some good old Southern tobacco spit in that bottle. You threw that out knowing that someone else was gonna have to pick that up, and you threw it out anyway. Now, before you start your comment, I know that I'm not supposed to have my bucket above the hood of the tractor, but when I go down the fence line, I want to be as tight as I can to the fence line, and the bucket's wider than the front of the tractor. By having it taller, I won't hit the fence. I can get up closer to the fence. And as soon as I got to the other end where it's a little more uneven, because it's very flat right here, I put the bucket down low where it's supposed to be. And that's the way I have to keep my bucket when I'm mowing close to the fence line. A lot of times I like to take my loader off completely, but I got a lot of work to do with the tractor today with the loader, and I didn't want to take it on and off. I always feel relieved once I get those first couple of passes done along the right-of-way or the paved road there, because then I'm safer, because now I'm 10, 15 feet in. That first one, you're trying to mow up as close as you can to the pavement, and cars are going by you at 55, 60 miles an hour, and it's just not a good feeling. Just glad to get that part done. That didn't take very long, but it didn't cut as well as I wanted it to. The last time I cut it with the zero turn, and we got a real nice cut out here. But here's one thing I noticed about my brush hog when I was using it that I thought I'd point out. I don't know if you can tell, but the back end of the brush hog is higher than the front end. And that's because it has this adjustment right here, and you can move that adjustment up and down and put it in different bolt holes. Well, I used to have it here. For some reason, I raised it. And by putting that down one bolt hole, that has actually lifted the rear of the brush hog, and now it just is at a weird angle, and I don't like it. I noticed it wasn't cutting as close as I wanted it to, so I kept lowering the front of the brush hog, but you can't lower the back of the brush hog because it's riding on that tail wheel. So what I need to do is take that bolt out and put it up one more bolt hole. That'll lower the deck on the rear. Right now the blades are cutting like that, with the front of my fingers being the front of the blades, and it should be more level like that. Got to keep the gate closed so we can let Bella run free. Since I mentioned it, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to adjust this, and it's very easy. I should only have to loosen or take this bolt out, tap that down, or in this case, tap it up. Sometimes you have to loosen these two bolts where these arms attach to your brush hog frame, but I think we can adjust it with a hammer if we take this out. And this is a 1 1/8 inch nut on here. And I've got my Japanese socket set for the other side. I guess I got that pretty tight when I put it on there. It's got a lock washer on it, so once I get this first couple of turns off of here, it should come right off. Pry bar and hold it up. Put it in this other hole. By raising this up, that'll lower the deck down on the back end. From the back view, you can see that's where it was for a long time before I moved it. Piney Grove. What's up, babe?
Well, what's up is I went inside to use the facilities instead of the country facilities, and I'm putting together a kitchen rolling shelf unit, apparently. That's what I've been doing, putting together portable furniture for the folks.
But it's cooler in there than out here, isn't it?
Not much.
Really?
They like to conserve energy. I'm still sweating, but yes, it is better.
And Miss Piney Grove, I don't think is going to join in the festivities today. We're both literally melting.
I'm all about joining the festivities, but right now the festivities are inside helping the folks and
Putting together that rolling table.
Putting together the rolling table.
Are you going to finish that rolling table?
I'm going to finish the rolling table, and then I'll be back, and maybe I'll mow.
Off camera, she said there's 20 pages of directions for like this 2 foot by 2 foot table.
Yes, ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
All right, I'm going to finish tightening this up and then mow, and maybe we'll get her on the zero turn. Just a real quick product plug, and we're not sponsored, but this bar right here is called a San Angelo bar, and I use it to help put my 3-point equipment on the tractor. It's also referred to as a digging bar, so you use it when you're in some like tight clay and you want to kind of either chop it with this end or with the pointy end. You can use this end to like locate a hole, like a drift pin. And you also saw me use it like as a pry bar, and I also use it as like a straight edge to put my level on when I'm trying to bridge 2 pieces of, let's say, some road or some boards or something. So look into this. If you don't have one of these, you can get it at your local Tractor Supply. I'll also put a link down below to Amazon, but literally use this thing every day out here on the farm. While I'm up here at the mega shed, I'll go ahead and put a couple of shots of grease in the tail wheel here. This tail wheel needs to be rebuilt. I've got a video out there already. I'm rebuilding the tail wheel, but this is a different brush hog, and I've got the new hub for it. I just haven't had the time to put it in yet. So one thing you can do to maintain your equipment, and that's keep it greased. We're all set to brave the heat and get back to mowing. See, now the brush hog is level on the bottom, so by lowering the back end and using the 3-point hitch to lower the front end, I got a nice level mowing deck. I did a little strip along the pond, and it's mowing much better. I noticed on the hill of the pond that the brush hog had some side-to-side play, and that's because my turnbuckles had come loose. So I'm gonna tighten them up. I don't really like turnbuckles, but it's the way Kubota sells their tractors. And they've got a jam nut on them. And if you don't get that jam nut tight, then your turnbuckles will loosen like mine did. Another thing these turnbuckles will do is if you have them sideways like this, they'll tend to hit the tire. And because the whole brush hog was over this way, it was hitting the tire a little bit. I'll put that vertical like that, and that way there's more space where my hand is in between the tire. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up that jam nut with a wrench. Usually I just have it hand tight. I'm gonna switch implements a lot, but with a brush hog, there's so much vibration that these will come loose. So if you're a landowner and your wife is always saying, what takes you so long to get things done? Show her some of my videos. The mowing will probably take 1/5 of the time. That's going to encompass this whole video. The rest of it's going to be setting up the tractor, adjusting it, greasing it, and things like that. Or maybe it's just me and I'm slow and you get your work done 5 times as quick. I shut this thing off like 2 minutes ago and it's still turning. Still see the blades whip by there. If you've been following along with the channel, you'll know that Deb and I put about 800 feet of new fence on the back side of our property, and that's what we'll be mowing right now. We've got about a 15-foot path of bahia grass back here, so we keep that mowed down. It gives us a nice walking trail. Obviously, this is a good deer crossing path because they've just bent all this over right here. I guess they can jump here and it's less of a jump because of the dip. But yeah, they've really bent the heck out of this fence wire. Another thing I noticed is along our neighbor's side, and Deb and I did 800 or 900 feet over there the year before, and all our fence videos are out there if you want to check them out on how we did all this fencing. But over here on the west side, our neighbors have horses. And I was thinking, man, there's a lot of places where deer have jumped there where the fence is bent. But it's not where deer have jumped. It's where the horses have come over the fence and bent it. And they haven't done it up here on this end, but on the other end, more where their corral is, it's not tight and straight along the top line like it was when we built it. But that's all part of having country property. Our neighbors have horses, and we don't want to run an electric line across the top of there to deter the horses from doing that. So we'll just deal with bent wire. We got up the hill all mowed, and you see the fence line still nice and clean. And going down the hill, the same thing. The fence line's pretty clear on both sides. We got a little bit of encroachment of limbs here. Trees that have an opening off to one side tend to then aggressively grow their limbs towards that opening, and you got to keep that trimmed up. And we've got to work on that. I need to get a basket for the front of the tractor for the bucket, and then have Deb take me around with a chainsaw and clean up all these limbs. So we got to go around the whole property and do that. That's at least a 2-day job, and that's not going to happen in the heat of a Florida summer. But we just about got this wrapped up, and that's the back corner of our property. But as you swing around here, you come into our 1-acre backfield where our soybeans are. You can see the 3D deer fence is keeping the deer out. We got 4-foot tall soybeans all through there. But I want to get this mowed down all along here. This field measures exactly 1 acre, and you can see there's a big piece here on the back end that isn't planted in soybeans. And we intended to plant the whole field in soybeans, but when we got the bag of seed, which we thought would be 50 pounds and enough to do the whole field, it was only about 44 pounds. We've been planting these Eagle Forward soybeans for years in food plots, but it has been a little while since we planted them. And sometime between the last time we planted them and this year, they reduced the amount of seeds in the bag by 6 pounds. But you can see by how tall these soybeans are that our 3D non-electric fence is working real well, and it won't be long before we'll be able to take down this fence and let the deer get in here and eat. That's going to wrap up today's video, folks. Till the next one, y'all take care out there. And remember, life's short, tractor hard.